I've hot-footed it over to the Catalent stand, and I'm now joined by Dan. Dan, really good to see you. Tell me, what do you do at Catalent?
I'm a Strategic Marketing Director for our Softgels business.
Okay, so tell me, you have some very exciting technologies.
Absolutely. Well, Catalent's known for our drug delivery technologies, and we're really excited to be introducing our Better Treatment by Design process here at CPhI this year. This is really a culmination of the 80 years of experience that Catalent has introducing and launching new products to the marketplace, combined with our expertise in drug development. So what we're doing with developers is really giving them a pathway to create better treatments that get to better outcomes for patients.
Because you were talking to me earlier and saying, you know, it's all very well having these technologies, but for physicians like me, you need to work with us because we're the ones dealing with the patients.
And at the end of the day, there's a patient at the end of everything that we do. We believe that at Catalent we have a very strong patient-first culture. But aside from that, it's inculcated in everything that we do for developers. We try to put together a plan that not only solves the problems that your molecule has, but also the problems that your patients might have for those therapies. And
yeah, because it's all very well having, you know, the great molecules, but if the patient doesn't take it and isn't very compliant, then it's not going to work.
That's agreed, and we've got several examples of some times when we've worked with developers in very specific areas, in very specific therapeutic areas where we've had to overcome a really strong patient concern, and we've been able to use our dose technologies to do that. And those have been very exciting products to see come to market because they solve big problems for these patients, and you know, it's wonderful to see those solutions come to light.
Okay, so give us some examples of your really clever technology.
So one of the technologies that we have that we really love is Zydis technology. It's an oral dispersing tablet technology, so it dissolves in less than 3 seconds. And while it's great for patient experience, one of the things that it can do is really help with adherence and compliance problems. In certain therapeutic categories, so for instance for therapies that in psychiatric conditions, schizophrenia as an example, you sometimes have compliance issues where the patients are either reluctant, and if they get off therapy, they sometimes will stay off therapy because the condition can worsen. So we now have this technology where we were able to take this, work with the developer, put the product into this technology, and it avoided the cheeking and spitting that you sometimes see, especially institutionalized patients having, and it really helped with their outcomes.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because having worked in a psychiatric ward, I know that you give the medication, but you're never really quite sure if the patient has indeed swallowed that medication or hidden it, or it disappears somewhere else. So how does your technology work, and how do you make sure you get that compliance?
Absolutely. Well, so it's a lyophilization technology that actually creates this, and it because of the technology that we have and the techniques that we've honed over 20 years with this specific dose form, this is the industry-leading technology, and it dissolves in less than 3 seconds. And so if this is placed on a patient's tongue, it's mucoadhesive, so it'll stick, and they can't spit it out. It dissolves nearly instantly. So none of those concerns with regards to hiding, cheeking, and then spitting the dose out later are present. And so you really get this wonderful marriage of solving the problems that the molecule has for formulation and looking at what a patient group needs and solving that problem. And this is really what's at the heart of Better Treatments by Design.
And how did you come to solve this problem? Was it from the physicians, or was it from your end first? Which way round was it?
It was really from the developer. I mean, they came to us with a problem, and what we really like to do is use our innovative approaches to solve problems. And those are the best discussions that we ever have with our customers, are really holistically looking at your program. It's not just, I have a molecule, I need to get it solubilized, how do I get to clinic? It's, how do I get to beyond and get to patients and really make a difference? We love those challenges. You know, the nice thing is that Catalent manufactures everything that we develop in dose forms, so we can help you get to market with those products as well. But these are the exciting times to actually see those come to fruition. That's one example. We've got several examples where we've brought chemotherapeutic products to market that have had very narrow therapeutic indexes, as an example, and looking with patient groups that have trouble with staying compliant because sometimes food effect can cause spikes in the plasma level. We've been worked with them on the dose forms to modify that to make sure that we get sustained release profiles for those drugs and create successful drugs that can be taken in the marketplace, where you don't put such a burden on the patient that once you've done all the work to get the molecule formulated, you might fall flat in the marketplace because you can't get them to comply. So, it's
So
important.
just talk me through that. So if you've got a very narrow therapeutic range, and obviously if you go above that therapeutic range, you become toxic, and so nasty side effects, and the patient doesn't like you very much. Fall below that therapeutic range, and of course the drug isn't working. So what would you do to that drug to ensure that you can stick within it, and obviously negate whatever the patient's eaten or drunk?
Right, and so every drug's different. It depends on some of the molecular properties and what we need to do to solubilize it, how bioavailable it is beforehand, and what we need to do to modify it. We'll choose a dose form, and then we'll address those problems on the back end. If it's an oral solid dose, we can do a lot of enteric coating and some other things to create that release profile. If it's a lipophilic drug, and so in certain cases we have those, we use our softgel technology and our 80 years of experience with our Peizer softgel as our legacy and our backbone to use enteric coating and put in, maybe sometimes use excipients within the shell or different type of shell formulations to create release profiles that can help with that. The food effect one is a really specific challenge because, again, you're putting a burden on people to take the medication, half an hour before or after a meal, and sometimes that's hard to comply with when there could be life or death consequences to something like that. Either you don't resolve a cancer sometimes, or you can spike a drug to, above a therapeutic index to really toxic levels. So, we take these very seriously. And again, it all comes down to working with the customer to make sure that we understand your patients, your disease process, your drug, and create a plan that addresses it. And that's really what this process is about. Better Treatments by Design is building that into the design of your drug, your whole development plan with Catalent, and we're unique in our ability to take that from soup to nuts, right from the candidate selection of what's the proper API to work with, all the way to commercially supplying the right dose.
And I would have thought fiscally, for any purchaser, that's very compelling because you're obviously making sure that you're using just the right amount of drug, keeping it in the therapeutic range. You're not using too much drug, so you're not buying too much. So it's all about economics as well as making sure the patient gets better.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to think about all the stakeholders in the process. Patients are very important. Prescribers are very important. You know that yourself. One of the things that you consider is, if I prescribe this drug, will they be adherent? What might my other considerations be? And what we want to do for our developers is give them that best chance of getting that script for their drug because their therapy is important. In the U.S., of course, we're worried about payers. Payers are worried about economic benefits. They want to see what's the economic outcome. If this drug is prescribed, are we going to see that versus the alternative of them falling off of therapy? Then they have to be hospitalized, and those can be big burdens as well. So we take all of those stakeholders into account. Of course, the developer as well. They have to hit their timelines and their milestones, and we take that very seriously. So from the standpoint of it being efficient, we really like this process because we do feel it's efficient. It's a seamless transition from development to clinic to supply. We also have a wonderful clinical supply services business that can help you through your clinical trials as well. And so it's a fully integrated approach that we offer that really not only expedites it, but it also creates, I think, these efficiencies that help these drugs move along and helps us get more therapies, invaluable therapies, into the marketplace.
Okay, so we're now at day 3 of CPhI. Apart from having extraordinarily painful feet, how has it been for you?
It's been a terrific show. I mean, listen, the interest has been wonderful. We've been very busy here. We announced the closing of our acquisition of Cook Pharmica. So now, we are what we like to call bio-bigger. We are, a real force in the biologic space, and we're very happy to engage with our customers in this very important therapeutic space as well. But we're also showcasing this new platform of Better Treatments by Design. Catalent's long been known for having these drug delivery technologies, and we very much appreciate having that notoriety. But I think putting it together like this for our customers and developers has really made a difference. It's gaining traction. We've had a lot of interest in the discussion of how we can more holistically approach their development programs. I mean, there are a lot of, you've seen CPhI, it grows every year, and so there are lots of folks out there that can help in one way or the other. But we hope that the approach that we have makes things that much easier and simpler for developers. And we just encourage everyone to come talk to us, no matter what stage you're in and what part of the continuum of the development process you're in, to see what we can do to help.
Well, Dan, thank you ever so much. I'll leave you now because you've just got a few final hours to talk to new customers, to engage with your current customers as well. So thank you very much indeed.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.